And the topic is Conserving and Preserving the Natural Heritage. Can I please invite the presenter to the stage? He has 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The topic was actually Conserving and Preserving Biodiversity. Now, diversity involves 2 issues. Number 1, it's to do with plant and animal species. And the second point is diversity within the species. Oh, forgot to tell you. My name is Azlan Adnan. I'm the founder of the Green Party of Malaysia. A small token to recognize the fact that the party was founded on the suggestion of Tan Sri Saleh, who's a very long time our Film Director General and President of the Malaysian Nature Society. So 3 years ago, he mentioned in the papers, I think the Star picked it up, that it was about time Malaysia had a Green Party, and I took the challenge, and here we have a fledgling Green Party. So within a species, we should have variety as well. So that is part of biodiversity. So it's just not a matter of preserving animals or plant species. The other thing is, plant and animals have to live somewhere. So basically it means preserving the habitat. You can't preserve a species in isolation, because there is what is known, the biologists and the what do you call it, botanists among you would affirm this. There is a thing in nature called biotic associations. Okay, many of you may have heard of symbiosis. That's a very strong relationship. If one species dies, the other one would die. But there is also a less strong association, which is called biotic associations, and these species have to live together for all of them to survive. So basically, we need to preserve the habitat. So our first suggestion is to have ethno-medicinal forests. This concept has been proven in India, in the Deccan Plateau. They have an area of about 100 hectares, which they preserve not just the plant and animal species and the species which have biotic associations, but also the local knowledge of how the plants are used for medicine. Now, if you remember, most of the medicine today are derived from plants and animals. Basically, what people have been using all this while, they did research and validated, but there's a lot of other plants and species which people in the jungles or the rural areas use, but the scientists haven't got around to researching and proving scientifically. So before the forests disappear and the plant species disappear, we should preserve these species in ethno-medicinal forests. If you want more detail about this, I can pass my card round. There is a YouTube video of about an hour or so on this topic of forests, and you could look it up. Just search for ethno-medicinal forests. Now, the second habitat that we have to care for are our rivers and our lakes. So we need not just to clean up, beautify, but also rehabilitate our waterways. Now, the other thing about rivers and lakes is they hold a lot of the aquatic species, and because of that, there are basically a lot of people have this concept of rivers of life. And because they're rivers of life, and that's where the aquatic habitat lives, we cannot get the drainage and irrigation department involved. How can you get someone in charge of longkang to take care of your rivers? You know, it just doesn't make sense. So please have canals to put your drainage water, but rivers are rivers of life. We need to have living things living in there. Now, the third point relates to the second issue of biodiversity, which is varieties within the species. How many of you have seen kacang panjang or lady's fingers, which are red in color? Okay, there are the color is red as if it's terung, you know. So things like this, we should be able to get the seeds and plant, or maybe as consumers demand to have these other species. Because one of the things that happens with commercialization of species is they just pick certain varieties which have good ROI, and they only concentrate on planting that. How many of you know that there are things called pink durians? Yeah. Okay, if you've lived in Sabah, you would also know not only do they have pink durians, they also have red bananas. Yeah, the pisang tembaga they call it. And if you've been traveling to South America, in Mexico, Venezuela, their mangoes are red in color. They're not yellow or orange. The skin is actually red. So these are things that we should preserve and also ensure that they're grown commercially, and the only way to do that is as consumers to demand it. One of the things that is very sad in this country is that nobody grows mangosteens commercially because it takes 8 years before it fruits. So whatever mangosteens that you find in the markets is because someone in the kampung had the foresight to grow it just for the fun of growing it rather than for commercial reasons. If you think of our big corporations in Malaysia, especially Sime Darby, they only produce oil palm and maybe a little bit of rubber. They have so many PhDs and scientists and botanists and research people who could very easily plant food species. And food security is a major issue in Malaysia. When it floods in Thailand, our vegetable prices go up. Yes. You know, that's how ridiculous the situation has become. So not only do we have to plant more things, plant things which are more variety, not necessarily the commercial varieties, and maybe we should also be self-sufficient and do your own gardening as well. Okay. So those are the 3 points. Thank you.
Thank you.